student. In the live classes, we have discussed about different reforms made by the Indian economy for liberalize our economy. The first was industrial sector reform, which we have discussed. Then second one, we have discussed financial sector reforms. Third, we have discussed tax reform, that is direct and indirect tax reforms. Fourth one is we have discussed foreign exchange reform. Today, foreign exchange reform. Today, we will discuss about the fifth. We will discuss about the fifth reforms for liberalization, that is trade and investment policy reforms. Now, trade and investment, as these reforms are related to the foreign trade and the foreign investment. Now, before 1991, during the period of 1950 to 1990, a lot of restriction, high tariffs and quotas were imposed on imports to protect the domestic industries. As you know, in the previous chapter, we have studied about the import substitution, tariffs and the quotas. Let me again recall you. Tariffs are the taxes imposed on the imports are called the tariffs, and the quotas are the quantitative restrictions on the imports of the commodity are called the quotas. The main purpose to impose tariff and quotas to stop the imports and promote the export and competition from foreign industries to domestic industry. However, this protection reduced the efficiency and the competitiveness. As you know that until and unless in the private sector, until and unless there is a healthy competition, the growth and efficiency will not come. So, for increasing efficiency and competitiveness of the Indian industry to the world industries, these the trade and investment policy reforms were necessary. So the reforms in the trade and investment policy were initiated. Now in this, the main purpose behind is to increase the international competitiveness of industrial production. Any just like any iron and steel industry of India should compete the iron and steel industry of either in Japan or in USA or in China. Second, to promote foreign investment and technology into the economy. Especially, I have told you many times, Indian peoples are lacking in the Indian industry or Indian corporate sector, private corporate sector. At the present time, I am talking about the 2020. We have only the lack of technique and lack of capital. Two things are lacking. Now, what is the reason behind these two things? For uh, innovation of new technique, R&D is required. Research and development. Many research organizations says that Indian corporate sector nowadays invest very less in research and development, that is called R&D. That's why for this reason the innovative ideas didn't do not come place, do not come forward in India. So we have to, either we talk about the Hero is using the earlier technique of Honda. Similarly, Scotch is also using the outside technique. Tata Motors is using the technique of foreign country. All of the Indian born multinational company are using the technology of the European, either the topmost developed country. That is the number one. Second one is we lack in capital. Capital is formed. Now let me give you the one example how the capital is formed. Capital is formed when our saving is more, or we can say our expenses are less than our income, then savings are promoted. These savings are converted into the capital, and the small amount of our savings makes an industry. So in the 90% case for India, if we talk about the 90% of population, either the income and the expenditure are equal, or we can say saving is zero. In most of the case, if you will study the 50% of the population, even you will find surprising, you will find expenditure is more than the income they received. Now that condition is called the dissaving. Now if the 10% population out of 137 crore, only 13.7 crore saves a little money, then you can just imagine how the capital for setting a industry, big capital is required, how the capital is formed. So we are dependent upon FII and FDI. So this policy, trade and investment policy, was to bring the latest technique to Indian industry and attract foreign direct investment and foreign institutional investment. Third point, to promote efficiency of local industries. Efficiency, I have to yesterday I have discussed about the efficiency and inefficiency. Inefficiency you will just notice in the public enterprises, yeah, government sector enterprises, and adoption of modern technology. That was the main purpose behind the trade and investment policy reform. Now important trade and investment policy reform include: Number first, removal of quantitative restriction on import and export. Now, earlier we have the quotas. Under the new economic policy, quotas, or that which is called the quantitative restriction on import and exports, were greatly reduced. Now quotas were finished. For example, quantitative restriction of imports of manufactured consumer goods and agricultural products were fully removed from April 2001. Now let me take you the example. For example, if any Indian private corporate sector want a luxury car from Europe, now one or two he can import, but for business purpose, if he is importing 100 and 200, earlier this there was a quota, only you can import one or two, but rest was not allowed. This is the example. Second, now from April 2001, totally these quotas have been removed. Removal on export duties. Earlier, if you are exporting any commodity to the global, now you have to pay some taxes to the government. These are called export duties. Now export duties were removed to increase the competitive position of Indian goods in the international market. Third, reduction in import duties as well as the export import duties. If you are importing any raw material and machinery from the foreign nations, earlier you have to pay taxes. Now these taxes have been removed. Relaxation in import licensing system. I have given you yesterday three examples, that is liquor, that is defense equipment, and industrial explosiveness chemical. Except these three, if you are importing any raw material from the rest of the world, you can easily import. Now no license is required. This is called trade and investment policy reforms. Now बच्चों, now let us discuss about the privatization. Now what does it mean? Privatization simply means transfer of the ownership, management and control of public sector enterprises to the enterprises in the private sector. Earlier, before 1990, we have the two sector, public sector and the private sector. There were some industry, some sector where private sectors were not allowed at all. Just like I'm already in the contest of 2020, for a long route bus, only you will find the roadways or state owned transport companies, just like Uttarakhand Parivahan. Similarly, for international long duration flight, you will find only the public sector, that is Air India or Indian Airlines. Now, slowly, what the India is doing, India is allowing now no sector is reserved. This is called the reservation of the some sector to the public sector. Now, privatization also means that there should be a participation of private sector or de-reservation of the public sector, or we can, in short, we can say earlier which sector, private sector are not allowed, now they should be opened for the private sector as well. As this is also privatization generally means allowing the private sector to run those activities which were restricted earlier to the private sector is called the privatization. Privatization implies greater role of private sector in the economic activity of the country, and over the years, Indian government has diluted its stake in several public enterprises, including IPCL, IBP, Maruti Udyog. Earlier, you Maruti Suzuki, you might be hearing the name. That is the car manufacturing. Earlier was the government sector. Slowly, die investment. With the help of die investment, it given to the private sector. Privatization can be done in the two ways. First way, transfer of the ownership and the management of public sector companies from the government to the private sector. Now Air India is owned by public sector. Now slowly the government is selling the, if Air India to the private sector, it is the one type of privatization. Second, privatization of the public sector undertaking, PSU, by selling of parts of the equity of the PSU to the public. This process is known as a die investment. I have told you earlier, or in government budget we have discussed this topic in the form of disinvestment. Now slowly what the Indian government public sector is planning, Indian government sector is planning one by one all the PSU, such PSU which are sick means sick in financial sick. Now sick industries are those whose revenue is decreasing or their loss, instead of profit they are making the loss making industry. One by one should be transferred to the private sector. This is also as a form of die investment. This is called the second route. The purpose of privatization mainly to improve financial discipline and facilitate modernization. Now government sector, you will find the two things: lack of efficiency. They are not efficient at all, and they do not want to change their adopt the modernization or modern technique. They are not encouraged so. And I have told you many times, the government sector or the public sector's main purpose is not to earn a profit, and or we can say government main role is not of an entrepreneur. Government cannot play a role of businessman. Only a businessman can play a businessman. Let them hand over to the that is efficient entrepreneur. That is the second thing. Now for this purpose, government have introduced now you might have questions in your doubt. Now we have around 70 or 7 decade have been passed, so government have nothing to do to promote the public sector. Yeah, government have divided industries into SIC industries, Mini Ratna, Maharatna, and there are many other industries. The government also, now you see the Navaratnas and the Mini Ratnas. The government also made attempt to improve the efficiency of public sector. Government have tried to undertakings by giving them autonomy in taking managerial decision. Now government from 1991 in the public sector also government have rated the such PSU just like a SAIL, BHEL Bharat Heavy Electrical Limited, Steel Authority of India Limited, Gas Authority of India Limited, GAIL, and many organizations. Now Maharatna, Navratna, Mini Ratna. Now Mini Ratna, now Maharatna. Let me, Maha means great, Ratna were 9. Ratna jewels. Ratna in Hindi, in English we call the jewels, Jewels, Ratna. The government also made attempt to improve. For instance, some PSU have been granted special status as Navratna and Mini Ratna. Nav means 9, Ratna means gems, 9 gems of the government sector. Mini का मतलब small and Ratna means small. In order to refuse profession and enable PSUs to compete more effectively in the liberalized global environment, government started granting Navratna status to the PSU. Navratna means 9 gems and Mini Ratna small but making profit organization PSUs, and Maharatnas are big. Maha means big. Now you might have heard, if you there are 3 types of industry in the Sensex or stock market. We classify the industry into 3 types. One is the small cap. Small caps are those companies which having the small market capitalization, and the mid cap we call it. Mid cap are those industries which are neither too big nor too small. These are mid caps. And the large caps are very large industries. Just for example, TCS and Reliance, Tata Consultancy Service and SDFC Limited and Reliance, they have the market capitalization of more than 1 million crore. 1 million crore market capitalization. These are the very big size of companies, Maharatnas. So government have categorized these type of industries to promote the effectiveness, efficiency in the public sector as well. As in the next class we will discuss about the now globalization. For today, thank you, have a nice